Hey guys, this is Chris Rogers, and I'm going through my presentation for Cal Ripken Jr. Baseball's Iron Man. I know from many years of watching SportsCenter that Cal Ripken Jr.'s nickname was the Iron Man of baseball because he started and played in a tremendous number of baseball games, and had lots of hits and runs, and accumulated a colossal number of stats over his many starts. And so this is which photos I thought would most appropriately represent the story of his retirement that was attached. So narrowing it down into categories, the categories I chose, I tried to stay away from kind of the obvious stuff. There were obviously pictures of him and him standing there and the family and everything. I tried to look at what the photos meant, both for him as a person and athlete, as well as us, the reader, the viewer, kind of how we would interpret what was going on in each picture. So I divided it into categories, narrowed it down to have the team, which is also my central image, the player, the past, and the future, and I'll explain those in a minute, and the retirement, kind of the acknowledgement of the retirement of this major professional athlete and what this means for sports in America as kind of a reference level. Okay, so first we look at, this is the central image representing the team. Now, I chose this as my central image because I think there's a lot going on here. I think there's a lot going on in this photo that is that tells the story of his retirement, his final game, quite well. First and foremost, I think that this photo has a very strong point of entry. So I don't know about you, but for me, when I look at it, I'm immediately drawn to Cal Ripken, his jersey. I see his name, and I see the teammate holding on to him, kind of clutching the jersey at the back. So basically, Cal Ripken's back is kind of the first thing that draws me into this photo. I see that first, and then I start looking around the picture from there. So the reason I said this was representative of the team is that he is walking off the field. First of all, he's walking off the field, right, because he's retiring. So I thought that was kind of a symbolic photograph for this particular occasion. But he's kind of in this loose embrace with one of his teammates. So obviously, they're supporting each other. They're walking off the field. He seems to have an appreciation for his teammates, since they're obviously share some closeness. And then you can see the rest of the team is looking in this direction. They're looking towards Cal Ripken, so they're probably they're acknowledging him walking off the field. This is the final time he's gonna be at bat. And you can see a couple other guys are smiling. You can see one guy in particular in the middle is smiling there. I also think this photo has a good rule of thirds here. At least that's kind of the way I see it. Is you've got the foreground action, which is you've got Ripken and the teammate supporting each other, walking off the field. Then you've got the team in the dugout in the background, and then you've got the fans who are up on the upper deck, and they're all looking in his direction, acknowledging him walking off the field as well. And so you look at the fans. There's obviously a lot going on for them too. There's one person off to the left taking a photo. They're fans of all ages, so there's a tremendous amount of diverse appreciation for Cal Ripken as a player. And I think that this photo for me, I think, is the most important of the group for representing his retirement and leaving professional baseball. Here's the photo I thought would be representative of Cal Ripken, the player. And this is a pretty good photograph, too, in its simplicity. I think this could make a strong case for being a central image also. I personally like the last photo a little bit better, but this seems to be a very simple photo with him at the center. You can see there are a lot of other people in the picture. There's a lot of fans, but there's really only one person that you can see and acknowledge, and that's him. So he's taking the plate, He's moving up to home plate. He's either walking out again to acknowledge the fans, or this is his last at bat. Um, he's taking off his helmet, most likely looking towards the fans, acknowledging them, kind of as a as a thank you, as an appreciation, because he was always very appreciative of his fans, of anybody who came to the games. He was famous for signing a lot of autographs. He loved the fans who loved watching him. So this is probably most likely him acknowledging them. And he's obviously a professional baseball player. He's wearing the uniform. He's got the gloves, the jersey, the number, and the bat. And I like the way that the bat is low in this photo, and it looks like it's not on the ground, but it's pretty close. And you could look like it almost look like it's touching the ground. In a way, it's like he's putting the bat down, like he's putting the bat down for the last time before he steps off the field. And here I get into the past and the future and kind of how I interpret these photographs. So this is a picture of Cal Ripken walking on the field, um, holding hands with his mom. As a photograph, it's a great picture because there's a lot of charged emotion here. First thing you see is you see him looking down at her and holding her hand. Obviously, family is a very important element to him, both as a person and in his career. And he wants his mom to be part of this moment. And the reason I say it's the past is because um, this is kind of an acknowledgement of how he got here. This obviously this moment, this last game, is a reflection on his entire career, and his entire career came to fruition partly or mostly because of her. Probably because of her encouragement. And so this is an acknowledgement of saying, the reason that everyone is celebrating me as a player tonight in my career is because I got here thanks to you. So this is acknowledging where he came from and saying, hey, I'm a son first. I'm your son before I'm a professional baseball player. And so this is obviously a very emotionally charged moment. You can see that his mother's either very emotional, or she's kind of on the verge of becoming very emotional, because I'm sure she's very proud. She's filled with pride for her son has done a lot with his career and his life. I mean, like, if you think about it, my mom is proud of me, and I'm not nearly as famous as Cal Ripken is, so I can only imagine how proud of him she is. Kind of the other side of that coin is kind of looking at the future. And what I mean by the future is mainly the children. So you see here is Cal Ripken and his entire family. His wife is off to the left, and then you kind of see them first. You see him and you see her, because they're the two faces, and so you're naturally drawn to looking at faces. So you see the two most visible faces in this photo. You see them first, and then you move on to the children. And so kind of what I mean by the future is that, if you're reading this story, if you're looking at these photographs, and you see the kids and they're all decked out in Orioles gear, and mainly his son, mainly the boy in this photo, he's wearing the jersey and the hat, but you can't see his face. His face is turned away from the camera. And so I got to think, if maybe you're a child, maybe you're a young boy or something, you're looking at this photo and you're thinking, maybe that could be me someday. Or you have children who are into sports, and you might look at this and you say, well, maybe that could be my son one day, or maybe those could be my kids. So it's kind of a passing of the torch. I mean, obviously it's almost kind of literal because the son is wearing the jersey, but I feel like that kind of represents a possibility of not necessarily only his children, but maybe your children becoming involved in the sports by looking at this photograph. The last one I picked out was this photograph here of Bill Clinton. I think this is a great picture, but this is kind of indicative of the retirement of Cal Ripken Jr. and what it means in the broader sense of American sports. So first thing you look at, you kind of notice Cal Ripken first. He's obviously seems to be very humble at this moment. His hands are clasped in front of him. His mouth is kind of drawn. Seems like this is a very humbling moment. His wife is off to the right. She has like a smile on her face. She's probably very proud of him. And then there's Bill Clinton in the center, um, most likely coming up to greet the two of them or acknowledging the crowd. And so, if you're a baseball fan, if you know everything about Cal Ripken and you follow this event, then you're probably thinking to yourself, you're like, wow, like Cal Ripken retired and Bill Clinton came out to say something and shake hands. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing. And that's all you'll think about it. But let's say you're not a baseball fan. If let's say that chances are very slim that you haven't heard of Cal Ripken if you've ever read a sports page during the time he played. But let's just say hypothetically you didn't. If you didn't know anything about baseball, you didn't know anything about Cal Ripken as a player, you don't know why you should care. Maybe you're a table tennis enthusiast and you read the sports page frequently looking for the breaking news on table tennis. One of these days they're gonna cover your favorite sport, but it's not today. And so the front page is this big spread of this guy, of Cal Ripken. You don't know anything about baseball, and so you don't know why his retirement is significant. But chances are good that you probably heard of Bill Clinton. So if Bill Clinton thought that it was worth his while to come out and to acknowledge the retirement of this particular athlete over all the other athletes that retire at some point in time in their career is relatively significant. And I think that that says something about acknowledging Cal Ripken as both a model baseball player, but as a model citizen and a model American. This is the kind of person that you, America, should look up to. And that's why Bill Clinton most likely felt that it was important for him to come out and acknowledge that and say, this is somebody that we should look up to, this is somebody we should celebrate. And I think this photo gives you a pretty good reference level. Looking at all 5 photos together and trying to find the story here, I think that there's a constant theme of togetherness and appreciation. You look at the central image, Ripken obviously has strong appreciation for his teammates. With this loose embrace of a teammate, and you see the fans off in the distance. They obviously appreciate him quite a bit, so you would imagine that the feeling is reciprocated, as you can see in the next photo, which is off to the top left, where he's acknowledging the fans for his final at-bat. He appreciates them as a professional. Then more along the lines, as a professional and as a man, as a family man. You see the next 2 photos, the one of him and his mother, and the one with his wife and his children, that there's a tremendous amount of appreciation. As you came to the game, you came to my final game, and I appreciate the fact that you're a part of this moment in my career, and that's why he leads his mom out on the field. He wants to include his wife and his children in the ceremony. And then at the end, there seems to be, again, appreciation going both ways. I think he's very humbled by the fact that the president is acknowledging his retirement. And the president appreciates that there are professional athletes and men like Cal Ripken Jr. who can serve as good examples, as model citizens and good people to look up to in America. So those are my categories, and those are the photos that I thought most well represented this story. And I think that if anything else, what you take away from this is that Cal Ripken's career obviously is very long. He was very successful, and he was a great baseball player, but you got to look beyond that. And I think that these photos really represent the appreciation that cut both ways for him for so many years. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.